This communication is so much important, because if you don't do the communication correct, and people will see you not doing your part or not doing your work, but actually you did it. Guys, we have something is very important. When we work together, even with our family or with our, like I said, a teamwork. Life is a teamwork, right? So when you work together with your family or friends or football field or working with other people in the company, so one thing is very, very important. That is called communication. This communication is so much important, because if you don't do the communication correct, and people will see you not doing your part or not doing your work, but actually you did it. And there's a typical example you have seen today. There is an email like this, means it's not right. We did not communicate enough. But let me tell you on this one. It's also very important too. We become older. The more older we become, more we become calm, more senior we become, more we think that our voice is more powerful, and we don't talk clearly again and again. This is our problem. I have seen managers don't talk enough. They think that they're talking enough, but they are not. It's a little bit like this. Let's say a wife telling the husband after 5 years of marriage, wife is telling the husband that, oh, why you didn't tell me you love me? And the husband is saying that, I told you I love you when I get married. If you change, I'll let you know. So you see the communication? So when you become a manager, because of the age or because of your workload, because of your thinking, you tend to down the communication. You think that communication is a waste of time. But actually not. When you become a manager, you have to over-communicate with your customer. The communication doesn't mean that you do gossip over there with some people, chit chat. This is not communication. That's a waste of time. But telling the customer no, what happened, what are you waiting for, what you have done, let them know immediately is one of the bigger part when you're like a manager or even like a leader in a company. Everyone have to do that. And that should be not just enough, more than enough. More than enough. It should be over-communicate. It's not enough communication, it should be over-communication. And that's how you can get your customer very engaged. If a customer coming and asking you, hey, what happened to my ticket? It means it's already bad. Because why he's coming to you and asking you what happened to my ticket? Because the lack of communication. If we do over-communicate, he knows that what is happening. You let them know, hey, this is what happened, this is what I'm waiting for, and I'm going to get back to you. Or one of the great way of doing it in email, just put them in the loop. When you're waiting for someone, put them in the loop. So I want to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to give you the building blocks for this one. Can I see the cleaner? Where is the cleaner? Oh, that's the cleaner. All right. So remember, when you are a manager, you need to over-communicate, not less communicate. And this communication is not gossip, chit-chat, no. It's about let them know what you have done and let them know what is next. So I'm going to give you a typical example. Let's say one customer initiated a request, a ticket, right? Now it's like sitting in an email right now, but very soon it will turn into a ticket. Mr. Jan is working really hard for doing the ticketing, the service now. It will be called as a service now at our domain. So when a customer sending a ticket means a request, so you receive that one, right? And then what happens to you? You take that one. So an agent, you pick the tickets. So then when it's come as a new. As soon as you take the ticket, it becomes an open ticket. Okay? When it's unread, nobody see it, it's actually a new ticket, right? And as soon as you open the ticket, it becomes your open ticket. But now, as soon as you open the ticket, means it's already started to be closed as soon as possible. That's the goal. As soon as possible. Now, one thing is about if it's an easy work, simple, where you can, not easy actually, it's a simple means only you can deal with alone. Then you close it and it goes to the client and let client know it's already done, right? But sometimes it happens differently. You take the open tickets and you basically need to request someone to get more information to close the ticket. Let's say about you got a ticket and you need to send it to HR department for something. So then what you do, you bring it to HR ticket. But here is very important, man. When you send this ticket to HR, you gotta include the CC, the customer here, very important. You gotta CC the customer in this query. It should not be lack of query. Because you, customer, need to know that you are waiting for them. So then, you can get help actually. The customer next time, rather than calling you, they will call them directly. And as soon as you let the customer know what is going on, and then what will happen, what your job will be, in maybe you in 3 days, they do not get back to you, you do a follow-up. The best way of doing this one, email man. Or a ticketing system, which we will launch real soon. We're just working for the guy to come over. Because as soon as the PMO officer is here, we start this machine. Full space. So now these are the tickets. Let's say about, now let me take you an example. Let's say about you got a request for getting an account creation for one staff. You get the ticket. You open the ticket, it's become open for you already, assigned to you already. And now you need to get a confirmation from HR department. So what are you going to do? You're going to forward the email to HR and say, hey guys, give me the confirmation so I can create the email. But do not forget to add the requester into that email or the principal of the school. Requester and the principal. If the requester is principal, perfect already. And then if the principal see that, oh, I'm not getting it in 3 days, they will call this one. Or they will just simply reply all into this email and sort it out. Then you will not look like the bad guy who is not creating the account and breaking the SLA. It's very important now. So then you bring this one and then as soon, and however, let's say principal forget too, but you cannot forget. So you gotta remember that by a ticketing system, you can remember that this thing is still open, it's not closed yet. That's why we need a ticketing system. Because now, when you are an email group like this, you have to take notes to remember. But when you have a ticketing system, the ticket is still open and you see all the status over there open. And you can easily click and see that who is assigned to you. Much easier, which we're going to fix. So then after 3 days, you can do a follow-up email. And I'll say, hey, we're waiting for you on this one. Have you any update? Or is it not? And more importantly, when you do the follow-up email, make sure that the CC the customer also here too as well. And that's why customer are going to admire you, because customer is saying that you really care about the request and you're really doing the work properly. So you actually did this one. So that is how it's so much important. You got to remember, the older you go, the more older you become, you never should not stop saying I love you to your wife. Man, you have to tell that. You always need to tell at least 1 time or 2 times a week, I love you to your wife. The same, when you become the older and you become a manager or you become a leader in a company, you always need to remember communication is the key. You may say that communication is English or language. It's actually language, but it also matters how you communicate too. Communication approach is also important. It's not only just about voice. It's a text, or not only text too, but it's actually an approach. And when you are in a service desk management, this approach is very, very crucial. It's actually more valuable than this too. Alright? So let's remember this flow and let's make sure that every customer has been taken care of in this way. If you do this one, the customer is happy, you're happy. Your main one and only mission is to make the customer happy. Not really happy in an unethical way, happy by solving the problem, or the problem you cannot solve completely, you do your part and pass the remaining part to the person who is in charge, and you do the follow-up. Done. So that is why the communication is so crucial with your customer. So that's why we have this guideline, this customer service straight line. Why we did this one? The number one is this straight line customer service CX. We did this one for fixing the communication, man. It's for that.